It's a good bounce back win for us today. I thought we started the game with the right tone on the defensive end. And so that was that was.
The basketball world just froze. After months of uncomfortable silence, subtle jabs in the press, and the most controversial roster snub in modern sports history, the impossible has actually happened. Team USA didn't just reluctantly invite Caitlin Clark to the training camp roster, they handed her the keys to the entire franchise, in a move that has left analysts, former players, and fans absolutely stunned. The very same coaching staff that famously claimed she wasn't ready and needed to pay her dues has officially named her Team USA captain. But if you think this is a heartwarming story about forgiveness and earning your spot, you need to look closer. The real story isn't the title she was given. It is the bizarre, tension-filled way this all went down, and who exactly forced the decision. You would expect news of this magnitude to come from a carefully curated press release, a celebratory social media campaign, or a unified statement from the team veterans showing their support. But it didn't happen that way. It came directly from the head coach herself during a media availability that witnesses described as tense, surreal, and incredibly cold. The coach stood at the podium, looked dead into the cameras, and declared Caitlin the new leader of the program. There were no smiles. There was no warmth. Just over a year ago, this same coach was leading the narrative about chemistry, experience, and how rookies need to wait their turn before stepping onto the global stage. Now, without warning, the tone has completely flipped to passing the torch. It felt forced. It felt sudden, and judging by the look on Caitlin's face in the background footage, eyes wide, posture stiff, she was just as confused and blindsided as the rest of us. This wasn't a promotion, it felt like a surrender. And that is exactly why we need to dig into what happened behind closed doors in the 48 hours leading up to this moment. Because when the people who tried to keep you out suddenly hand you the crown, you have to ask yourself, is this a victory or is it a trap? To truly understand the weight of this moment, we have to rewind the clock. You cannot appreciate the shock of this announcement without looking at the war that raged in 2024. That summer wasn't just about a roster selection. It was a cultural battle line drawn in the sand. When Caitlin Clark was left off the Olympic team, it wasn't presented as a simple basketball decision. It was framed by the media and the old guard of the sport as a necessary lesson in hierarchy. The arguments we heard back then were endless and, frankly, aggressive. We heard that she was too young. We heard she was too inexperienced. We heard that the physicality of the international game would be too much for her frame. But the loudest argument was the one about chemistry. The leadership of Team USA, the veterans who had been playing together for a decade, supposedly had a rhythm that couldn't be disrupted by a rookie, no matter how popular she was. The fallout was nuclear. Fans were outraged, pundits were screaming, and the internet was on fire. But the coaching staff held the line. They won the gold medal, and they used that victory as proof that they were right. They stood on the podium, medals around their necks, and vindicated. They believed they had proven that the system works and that no single player is bigger than the program. So fast forward to today. What changed? How do you go from she disturbs our chemistry to she is our captain in less than 18 months? Did Caitlin suddenly gain 10 years of experience overnight? No. Did the veterans suddenly decide they wanted to step aside? Absolutely not. The basketball reasons didn't change. The stats didn't change. The only thing that changed was the leverage. And that brings us to the shadowy reality of who actually runs professional sports. If you want the truth, you have to follow the money. Insiders suggest that this 80-degree turn was a business survival tactic orchestrated by the suits, the high-level executives at the major networks, and the massive shoe sponsors who fund the entire operation. Let us look at the number. The viewership for the WNBA exploded when Caitlin arrived. We are talking about sold-out arenas, record-breaking merchandise sales, and TV ratings that rival the NBA. But while the league was booming, the national team, the entity that supposedly represents the pinnacle of the sport, was seeing stagnated interest outside of the Olympics. The old guard might have won gold, but they weren't winning the ratings war. The speculation is that the organization was given a strict, non-negotiable ultimatum. Either make Caitlin the face of the team immediately, or watch the funding and primetime TV slots disappear. Network executives allegedly held meetings with the federation heads, pointing out a simple, brutal fact. People tune in to watch Caitlin Clark. If she isn't there, or if she is just riding the bench, the casual viewer changes the channel. The coach might have been the one to say the words at the podium, but many insiders believe she was reading from a script written by the people who signed the checks. This explains the awkward body language. It explains the lack of emotion. It wasn't a coach proud of her play. It was an employee following a corporate mandate. They needed her gravity. They needed the Caitlin effect to keep the program relevant in a rapidly changing sports landscape. But here is where the story gets darker and more personal. There are leaks circulating about a secret meeting that took place just 24 hours before the public announcement. This wasn't a team meeting. It wasn't a Zoom call. Sources say the coach called Caitlin into a private office at the training facility, away from the other players and the camera. According to those whispering about the encounter, the mood in the room wasn't hostile. It was desperate. The rumor is that the coach admitted, perhaps for the first time, that the program is in trouble. The gap between the US and the rest of the world is closed. The European teams are getting better, faster and stronger. The old guard is aging out. The coach allegedly told Caitlin that the team needs her, not just as a shooter, but as a shield. They need her star power to distract from the team's internal flow. They need her to sell tickets, so the program can afford to operate at an elite level. It was, by all accounts, an admission of defeat disguised as a promotion. Imagine being Caitlin in that moment. The same person who publicly embarrassed you a year ago is now sitting across the desk, asking you to save them. It is a power dynamic shift that is almost uncomfortable to think about. Caitlin reportedly sat there, listening, saying very little. She didn't ask for the captain. She didn't demand it. It was thrust upon her like a burden. Naturally, this decision has dropped a nuclear bomb into the locker room. You have to understand the hierarchy of Team USA. This is a group of women who have played together for years. They have a pecking order. You have veterans, multi-time gold medalists, and future Hall of Famers who have been grinding for a decade, waiting for their shot to captain the squad. Now imagine their reaction when they find out that the player they tried to freeze out, the rookie they hazed, the outsider they rolled their eyes at, is suddenly their boss. Reports are coming out that the team group chats are dead silent. There are no public congratulations from the senior stars on social media. No welcome to the leadership team posts, just silence. And in the world of modern sports, silence is deafening. There are rumors of jealousy, of course, but it goes deeper than that. It is about respect. The veterans feel that the captaincy is something earned through years of loyalty to the program, not something handed out by marketing executives to boost ratings. They view this as the death of the culture they built. We are hearing whispers that some of the older players are considering sitting out the next cycle or retiring early. They don't want to be led by a 23-year-old. They don't want to play second fiddle to the Caitlin Clark show. The locker room is reportedly divided into two camps: the younger players who see this as the future and the veterans who see it as an insult. The coaching staff has effectively created a civil war within their own roster. So how is Caitlin taking all of this? Sources close to her say she walked into that meeting expecting the worst. When she got the text to report to the coach's office, she thought she was being reprimanded. Maybe she spoke too freely to the media. Maybe they were going to cut her from the pool again to make a statement. When the offer was made, "We want you to be captain," she reportedly hesitated. She didn't jump for joy. She didn't smile. She knows exactly what this is. She knows that wearing the captain patch puts a massive target on her back, not just from the opponents, but from her own teammates. She knows that if the team chemistry fails, the media will blame her leadership. If the veterans revolt, it will be Caitlin lost the locker room. If they lose a game, it won't be the coach's fault anymore. It will be on the captain. Caitlin is smart. She has a high basketball IQ, but she also has a high media IQ. She realizes that this might not be a genuine olive branch. She accepted the role because you don't say no to Team USA. You don't say no to your country. But sources say she is walking into this with her eyes wide open, fully aware that she is stepping into a snake pit. She is the leader of a team that might not want to follow her. This brings us to the most disturbing theory circulating among analysts: the glass. This is a concept in business where women are often promoted to leadership positions during times of crisis when the chance of failure is highest. Is that what is happening here? Think about it. The rest of the world is catching up to Team USA. France, Australia, Spain. They are all looking dangerous. The US team is aging. They are vulnerable. By making Caitlin the captain now, right before a difficult transition period, is the coach, setting her up to take the fall. If Team USA loses the next World Cup, or if they struggle in exhibition games, the narrative is already written. The critics will say, "See, we told you. You brought in the rookie, you disrupted the culture, and now we are losing." The old guard can wash their hands of it. The coach can say, "I gave the fans what they wanted, and it didn't work." It is the perfect scapegoat strategy. If Caitlin succeeds, the coach looks like a genius for adapting. If Caitlin fails, the coach looks justified for leaving her off the team in the first place. It is a win-win for the establishment and a lose-lose for Caitlin, unless she plays absolutely perfect basketball against impossible odds. The internet, as you can imagine, is absolutely melting down. On one side, you have the Clark stans, the millions of new fans she brought to the sport. They are celebrating. They see this as justice. They see this as the inevitable triumph of talent over politics. To them, this is the moment the haters finally had to bend the knee. They are flooding social media with edits of Caitlin wearing the captain's armband, mocking the coach, and demanding apologies from the veterans. But on the other side, you have the purists. These are the fans who have been watching the women's game for 20 years. They are angry. They feel that the sanctity of the sport is being sold out for clicks and views. They argue that a second-year player has no business captaining a team of legends. They believe this decision disrespects the history of the program. The comment sections are a war zone. You have people accusing the coach of being weak, accusing the veterans of being bitter, and accusing Caitlin of being an industry plant. It is ugly, it is personal, and it is driving engagement through the roof. And ironically, that is exactly what the suits wanted. They didn't care if the reaction was positive or negative. They just wanted people talking about Team USA again. And in that regard, mission accomplished. Let us go back to that press conference for a moment, because the nonverbal communication told a louder story than any word. When the coach made the announcement, she didn't look at Caitlin. She looked at her notes. She looked at the journalists. She avoided eye contact with the player she was promoting. And Caitlin, she sat with her arms crossed, a defensive posture. She answered questions with short, clipped sentences. "It's an honor. I'm ready to work. We have a great group." Standard PR answers, but the smile never reached her eyes. There was no joking around with the coach. There was no shared laughter. Usually when a new captain is named, the former captains are there to shake hands and pass the torch. Where were they? The absence of the senior players at the press conference was glaring. It was just the coach and Caitlin alone on an island. That visual image perfectly represents the current state of the team. The administration and the new star isolated from the rest of the squad. So where do we go from here? The training camp begins next week. This will be the first time Caitlin walks onto the court wearing that captain designation. All eyes will be on the interactions during practice. Will the veterans pass her the ball? Will they listen when she calls a play? Or will we see a passive-aggressive mutiny on the court? We are going to see a level of scrutiny on practice footage that we have never seen before. Lip readers will be analyzing every sideline conversation. Body language experts will be breaking down every high five or the lack of one. Every missed shot will be magnified. Every turnover will be a headline. Caitlin has proven she can handle pressure. She handled the NCAA scoring record pressure. She handled the draft pressure. She handled the physical targeting in her rookie year. But this, leading a team of people who might secretly want you to fail, that is a different kind of pressure. That is psychological warfare. This decision doesn't just affect Team USA. It sends shockwaves through the entire professional league. It signals a changing of the guard that will impact contracts, endorsements, and media coverage for years to come. The Caitlin era is no longer coming. It is here, and it has been federally recognized by the national team. For the other players in the league, this is a wake-up call. The hierarchy is gone. Popularity and marketability are now as valuable as seniority. This might lead to more resentment, or it might force the other stars to up their game, both on the court and on social media. We might see a more aggressive, more competitive, and more drama-filled league, as everyone fights for their slice of the pie that Caitlin is currently eating whole. The naming of Caitlin Clark as Team USA captain is the biggest gamble in the history of women's basketball. It is a decision born out of financial necessity, fueled by fan pressure, and executed with a level of awkwardness that suggests deep internal conflict. The coach has swallowed her pride. The veterans are stewing in silence, and Caitlin Clark is standing in the middle of the storm, holding the flag. Is this the beginning of a golden era where the old and the new merge to create a super team? Or is this the moment the dam finally breaks, leading to a disastrous implosion on the world stage?